All right, guys. Once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast talking to Auburn sports and basketball. Man, we have a special guest on tonight. Go ahead and like the video, comment, and subscribe to Vernon Speak Sports Auburn. And I don't know if Amp will agree with this, but it's always great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle. We have one of the if you want to know about basketball, especially in East Central Alabama, you cannot talk about basketball, especially small towns that 1A basketball. You can't talk about that kind of basketball, especially in the late 90s, without mentioning Lochapoka High School. And you definitely could not talk about basketball in that area without mentioning Mr. Anthony Williams. Man, I'm so flattered to have this guy on tonight. He's one of the best basketball players that I have seen in person. Anthony, what's going on, man?
Man, I'm happy to be here. I was wondering when was I going to get an invite to Vernon Speak Auburn, although, right. I want to bring a little Vandy flair. So I appreciate you having me on here tonight, man. Looking forward to having a good time with you.
Oh, man, most definitely. Now tell me this. Now, Lochapoka is, if you're in good shape, you can actually jog from Lochapoka to Auburn's when you were playing, it was Beard Eves Memorial Coliseum. What was it? How did you wind up at Vanderbilt? Did Auburn give you a shot, or were you just trying to get away from home? Well, how did you wind up at Vanderbilt?
Hey, that's a question. My whole life, we grew up, like I do, being from the area. You grew up Auburn, everything.
Oh yeah.
And I went to multiple Auburn games. I went on the official visit. I could have gone to Auburn, but I thought I need a change of scenery. Being from Lochapoka, I had not seen other than traveling playing basketball. And when I went on my visit to Vanderbilt, man, I went and sat in on classes with athletes. I took 5 official visits, and that's the only one where I went and actually sat in on classes with any of the athletes. And I thought it was a really good team atmosphere. They were really one, and it gave me an opportunity to say, okay, it's 4.5 hours from home. My family can come see me play, and I'm in a different environment that I don't know, so it allows me to have to grow myself that way also. And I think it helped coming from Lochapoka, and I wanted to go to a school that kind of challenged me academically as well.
So let me tell you something. Now Vanderbilt, you got to be pretty smart to get in there. You can't have like a 2.7 GPA and a ACT score of a 16. So what was the GPA hitting on for you to get in there? Because I always thought about that. I was like, man, dude can play ball and he's smart too. So what's up with that?
Well, I was salutatorian in my high school class, but hey, don't laugh too fast. It was only 19 in the class, so it wasn't.
It was only I think it was only like 30 an hour. You know what I'm saying? So,
but I'll tell you a funny story about that. It's not actually getting in that's tough. It's the staying in that's actually tougher. I remember my freshman year. True story. I want to tell this quick story. True story. My freshman year. I'm going into Vanderbilt. I did pretty well on ACT. I did pretty good in school and high school as well. Here I am thinking I'm a pretty bright guy. So I go in my freshman year, and Coach Van Bredikoff, who recruited me, like every semester in the locker room, they posted GPAs from the highest to the lowest. Oh. And the person that's at the back of the GPA, they call you the caboose for that whole semester. You had. Usually at most schools, they have the freshmen carry the seniors' bags to the bus, where at Vanderbilt, it's the caboose. And so my first semester there, and I didn't know. I saw the grades in the locker room, but didn't really know what it represented. And my name just so happened to be the last one, the caboose, my first semester. And I had to carry bags to the bus. It wasn't a freshman thing. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Hey, I made a commitment then. I'll never be the caboose again. And I think that's the kind of academic excellence that Vanderbilt brings.
And I think that's absolutely phenomenal that, you got there, you bought into the academic standards of Vanderbilt. And, it leads me to, you actually beat me to one of my first questions for you. Now, you're 6'7", 6'8", I think, 200 and I'd give you about 220 at the time that you were playing ball. Maybe
that was my next question. Then or now?
When you're at a 1A school, or any high school for that matter, man, you're the tallest guy on the court. You get to Vanderbilt. What was it like? And I think, you know, a lot of athletes out of high school, and I want this question to be on the forefront. What was it like to actually have to fight for a position? Because you didn't have to fight for one at Lochapoka. I know you didn't. So what was it like to go from you the man no matter what to now you got to fight for a position at a Power 5 school that competes on the high level in the SEC, academic standards out of the wazoo? How was that change for you, Amp?
I mean, honestly, man, it was very difficult because Vanderbilt had just came off a nice NCAA run, and I was coming into a situation where you had two seniors that were all conference. And so I knew going in that anything that I was going to get, I had to earn. But the fortunate thing is that playing along the AAU circuit, I'm playing with the Birmingham Magic on the AAU circuit. I had seen a lot of the players. I had played in the big tournaments. I'd gone to Nike and ABCD camp.
Okay.
So I was used to being a little undersized, but I would still say a lot. What got me into the game my freshman year was my ability to rebound and lock down defense. And I think that's something that's forgotten by the youth today. You hear nobody bragging about rebound and nobody bragging about locking down defense. You hear everybody talking about points. And going in, it's just about how can I get in the game? I got to find an avenue where Austin Bates, the spots row, they were all conference player averaging 15 points a game. I wasn't going to outscore. So what can I bring? I just need 6 minutes. If you give me 6 minutes, I would turn 6 into 12. If you give me 12, I would turn 12 into 24. So I had to carve a niche out for myself to get me in the game. And man, I went in, I decided nobody's going to outwork me in practice. Nobody's going to out-rebound me. And I want to guard the toughest player on the court every day. And I remember in practice when I got Billy's respect. We're doing a drill, and he was crushing everybody. And we were lining up at the free throw line. I said, hey, man, we were practicing box out drill, and he was kind of big old dude, about 260, 6'9", big bullet type dude. I said, hey, man, if you hit me with another elbow at this free throw line, you and I going to have a problem. So we lined up to do the box out drill, and he hit me high with a big elbow, and it caught me right across the temple. And as he hit me across the temple, man, you can't always take the poker out the guy. I scooped him up, and I rolled him out of bounds, and I drilled him into the floor. But ever since we got up from there, he had nothing but mad respect for me. And that's how I garnered the respect, and I ended up getting time on the floor my freshman year from that one incident.
I tell you what, man, that's absolutely incredible. You talk about, bringing the poker out of you. I had the privilege of actually playing against you, obviously, when we were high school, obviously neighboring high school. I went to Notasulga and Anthony went to Lochapoka. Like I said before, Anthony could jog to Auburn, and we could have, as a matter of fact, I think we used to hear Lochapoka practicing from Notasulga. That's how close,
right next door.
That's how close in proximity the schools are. But I'm going to tell you, man, when it came down to physicality, you can talk all you want about 1A basketball, but if you catch Notasulga and Lochapoka on a given Friday night, it's banging. I'm talking about you talking about guys really putting it on the line. You got Anthony Williams, obviously, against our guy was actually Tyrone Levitt. And it was always a great game, always a physical game. And I was definitely proud to know that obviously Tyrone Levitt went to Alabama State University, who has the opportunity to compete in the NCAA tournament. And also Anthony Williams, man, we were really ecstatic about the fact that a guy that we rubbed shoulders with headed out to Vanderbilt of all schools. I mean, I thought it was a great deal. And as it turns out, when we look at the game against Auburn coming up this particular week, tomorrow, actually, it's going to be at 8:00. And what a lot of folks don't know is Vanderbilt has literally owned Auburn for the last 15 games. Auburn is only 2-13 against Vanderbilt in the last 15 games. But what I want to know from Anthony's perspective is, what was your experience when you got an opportunity to come back basically home to represent Vanderbilt in Beard Eves Memorial Coliseum as a Vanderbilt Commodore, knowing that you were like literally seconds away from your house and being able to represent Vanderbilt down in Auburn?
Man, it was always a fun time for me because I knew family, friends, the community. I had mad love and support that were coming to see me play. And remember, I came up through the AAU circuit in Alabama. So just about all my friends and people I played with AAU were either at Auburn or at Alabama.
There you go.
So it was like we see each other, we dap each other up, we talk about, AAU, and we go out and battle. And it's always like we compete, but we always want to see each other do well because it's almost like a fraternity. Like still today, Lochapoka, Notasulga, we battle, but I still, at the end of the day, if we couldn't go to the state championship, I wanted somebody that next to us to represent us.
Oh, yeah.
So to me, it was all love, but I knew I wanted to get the best of Chris Porter. I knew that when I came to Auburn, I wanted to walk out the lead rebound, the lead scorer for both teams, just because those are your peers and you want to compete, but you want to see them do well. I don't want them to go out and lay an egg because we all came through the same circuit, and I root for them guys secretly to do well. Right.
I'll tell you what, as much as I hated this back in 1997, we had the opportunity to play against you guys. Notasulga had an opportunity to play against you guys down in Troy. It turns out very rarely will you see heated rivals. I mean, from like right down the street from one another. The game down in Troy deciding who goes to Birmingham. We faced y'all down there in 1996 or 97. I think it might have been 96. And it was a bittersweet loss because we knew, we were overmatched. I mean, you guys were good. Y'all had great point guards. You had great forwards. You were definitely a force down in the paint. But to see you guys go on and win that state championship back in 1996, I think it was really huge, especially for the community. And what I really love about our recent connection again is that it just showed the amount of camaraderie and mutual respect that we had for one another as peers and as athletes and as competitors, to where we want to see each other win. Now, don't get me wrong, I would have wanted to get that ring myself, but it was
no doubt.
But it was great to see you guys go on and y'all represented the 1A. I think we were Area 7, I think at the time. 1A Area 7. And like I said, and what most people don't know is that if you look at the trajectory of the 1A class as far as basketball at that time, whoever made it out of Area 7,
it was a wrap.
It was a wrap.
It was gonna be us, y'all, or St.
And you know what's funny about it? Girls and guys.
Yeah, it was a wrap.
We knew Lochapoka girls snuck one in too during that time, and
they sure did.
Won there. So you talk about a wealth of talent, and now we have the product of Anthony Williams, who now has Williams Inspires. He does an incredible job with motivational speaking. So that does go to show that there is life beyond basketball and life beyond sports, but we can't discount what we learn from it, though. You know what I'm saying? We can't discount the experiences and all of the, all of the setbacks, all of the triumphs, all of the trials and tribulations to where we get to where we are now. And then you have these not even finished products. We're still making it happen and still getting it going. So now when I talk about Vanderbilt currently lost to SMU a couple of days ago. Actually, crazy enough, Jerry Stackhouse is actually the head coach. Ironically, your frat brother is the head coach there. One of my favorite mottos of Omega Psi Phi is friendship is essential to the soul. I think that is incredible for that particular fraternity. And what are your thoughts about Jerry Stackhouse as a coach? I think he's getting off to a good start, but I think his guys just need to figure out how to maintain their leads. They had a great lead over SMU up by 6 with about 36 seconds left, but surrendered that particular loss. What do you say about a team in their development and how they can get out of that particular rut?
Well, number one, let me Coach Stack. I am excited and I'm bullish on Vanderbilt basketball. I think Coach Stack was a perfect hire for what we need at this time at Vanderbilt. We've had some really good coaches, but I think now, but the challenge at Vanderbilt is getting the top recruits. And I think Coach Stack brings the resume that he can recruit. You know, even last year we were able to get Darius Garland, who got hurt and didn't play many games. But that's saying like we're moving where we can get some of these top recruits. And if we can get, a couple top 50 recruits, that's going to make us more competitive in the SEC. And I think even with Coach Stack, there's a process to learning how to win. There's a process. And I think right now we've learned, or we know how to play about 30 minutes of good basketball.
Yeah, that's what I saw against SMU. Great. I was like, because I went to sleep on the game and I woke up and like, how the heck did they lose? You know?
Yeah. We can play about 30 minutes of good basketball, but at the end, it's about having that camaraderie. It's about knowing the system and understanding where each person is. But you got to think, we're a young team. We are a very young team. This entire team will be back next year. And so I'm looking forward. I'm actually going up. I'm playing in the alumni game this year. Actually, I coach my son's basketball game, so I can't make many of the Saturdays game. Like actually, this weekend is alumni weekend. I won't be able to make it, but I am going back to play in the alumni game. I play about every other year. In the alum, so I keep myself fighting trim just for that game.
Right. I see you back in the gym, man. You know.
But I'm looking forward because Coach Stack is doing some really good things, and I think there's a process of learning how to win. And we are not very far from pieces together. And I think as the season goes on, we're gonna win a couple of games that maybe we shouldn't, or people don't expect us to win right now.
Speaking of which, a great opportunity tomorrow when the Vanderbilt Commodores come down to Auburn. Auburn is the number 5 team in the country, one of 2 undefeated teams left, and teams that can actually go to the NCAA tournament. Now, of course, I would hate to be the Auburn to be the team that helps Vanderbilt get on track, but you got to think about it. You do the numbers. You and I both we understand the the laws of averages. Auburn has not won this game a lot of times. You're talking about 13 out of 15 that Vanderbilt has won. Definitely a huge opportunity on a Wednesday night in Auburn, Alabama, to catch Auburn napping. And Vanderbilt is a very feisty team that has been in most of the games that they played. I think there's a couple of games that they've obviously left on the table. So I think Auburn really needs to be careful in this particular game. Auburn is an all or nothing team. They shoot from the 3-point line and they score right there in the middle. They have they have little to no intermediate scoring game, which I think that can be potentially dangerous against a team like Vanderbilt. And I'm pretty sure Jerry Stackhouse has done his homework, because I mean, I'm not quite as smart as Jerry Stackhouse, but I do know that Auburn has 0 scoring around the perimeter, around the the intermediate portion of the basketball goal. So mid-range shots. So I think this is a game that Vanderbilt can really take advantage of some opportunity against Auburn. If nothing else, have a good showing. I don't think Vanderbilt needs to get blown out in this game. I think they need to have a really good showing against one of the better teams in the country right now in the SEC, to where Jerry Stackhouse and his program can continue to move in a positive direction. Anthony, as we leave this thing, man, I've thoroughly enjoyed this. We definitely have to do this again. What are your closing thoughts about your alma mater, Vanderbilt, coming back to basically your hometown of Auburn and having to compete against the number 5 team in the country on tomorrow?
I think this is a dangerous game for Auburn, and I'm going to tell you why. We lost to SMU in overtime, which we were up, we should have won. But after hearing the press conference when Coach Stack said, okay, we just haven't had enough time to work on situational opportunity. I had a chance to. We up by 3, we're down by 4, we're up by 6, we're X amount. They haven't had time to go through those situational situations.
And that's huge, man.
Yeah, that's huge. But what that allowed them to do against SMU, it gave them that game. I think game time experience is always better than what you get in practice. So although they haven't had an opportunity to go over it, they had a chance to go through those situations then. But I think because of that loss to SMU, and because of, I think Coach Stackhouse, he took that one on him. Yep, that's on me. We haven't had much time to work on these things. I think they're gonna come in hungry and want to show that, okay, Coach, you had us against SMU. We have you against Auburn. And Vanderbilt's not gonna have a problem scoring. Auburn has a shooter's jam, it's bright, it's light. Auburn can shoot, we can shoot. We have some really good young players that don't care about being ranked number 5.
Nah.
Playing against number 5.
They're just trying to compete.
Yes.
They're just trying to compete and win. Now let me ask you this. You've slyly given us some bold predictions without giving it. Come on, Amp. We got to have it. Who you got tomorrow?
Hey, I'm saying this because of this. I'm going upset Commodores because they're coming in hungry. And I think Auburn is feet five. And we're coming in hungry after losing to SMU. And I think we got the players on the court that can actually deliver if we play cohesively. I'm taking the Commodores in regulation.
It won't be in the overtime. Man, I'm going to tell you, man, Anthony Williams, one of the best basketball players in 1A history. We have him on the line tonight. He had the opportunity to win a state championship at Lochapoka High School and, was heavily recruited out of high school, chose to go to Vanderbilt, a great program basketball wise. And they do some good things in football here and there, but at the same time, this just goes to show when we look at a guy like Anthony Williams, it just goes to show that you can have life beyond basketball. You can continue to achieve beyond basketball. And he's definitely a finished product as far as scholastics and athletics go. Once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast talking to Auburn sports. And we had the opportunity to get a much more insight on Vanderbilt basketball than what we may have had before. Go ahead and like the video, comment, and subscribe to the channel, Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. And also go over to Facebook and get a part of Motivational Mondays with Anthony Williams. His name on Facebook is Williams, and he will give it to you straight every Monday. If you're down and out, if you don't know where to turn, or if you just need some type of pick-me-up, please go over there to Williams, and the same intensity that he gave you guys tonight, the same level of competitiveness that he gave you tonight, that he did on the court when he played for Vanderbilt and Lochapoka High School. He does that on Motivational Mondays. As always, guys, I know Amp don't agree with it, but as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger or Eagle. Take it easy, Amp. I appreciate you, man.
All right, man. Thank you for having me on. Enjoyed it.
Yes, sir.